You know, for decades, when we talked about solar power, we were pretty much just talking about rooftops. But what if the next big leap in the clean energy revolution isn't happening up there, but maybe just one story down? Today, we're going to dive into balcony solar, a tiny technology that's making some seriously big waves.
So, let's be real. If you're a renter or you live in a condo or an apartment, you've probably felt kind of left out of the whole solar boom, right? You see the panels going up on houses all around you, but your own space, that balcony, that little patch of wall, it's felt totally off limits. Well, that's all starting to change.
Meet plug-in solar, and honestly, its genius is just how simple it is. This is a compact, do-it-yourself kit. We're not talking about complex wiring or needing a whole crew of professionals. You literally plug it into a regular wall socket, just like you'd plug in a toaster or a TV. That outlet right there becomes your own personal gateway to solar energy.
So what's in the box? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. You get a lightweight panel or two, a small but mighty microinverter, that's the little brain that turns sunlight into power for your home, some simple mounting gear for your railing, and of course, the cable that connects it all. That's it. It's basically solar power in a box, for everybody.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds kinda niche, maybe a little bit futuristic, right? Well, it's not. This is real, it's proven, and it's already being used by hundreds of thousands of people. And to really see what's possible, we gotta look across the Atlantic.
Yeah, you got to look at Germany. They've basically written the playbook for balcony solar. What's been happening there shows us exactly where this whole thing could be headed.
I mean, just look at this number. Over 1 million of these plug-in solar systems are already up and running on German balconies and walls. This isn't some tiny experiment. It's a full-blown mainstream movement, a real grassroots energy shift that's happening right in the middle of their cities.
So what was their secret? How'd they do it? Well, they didn't just have the tech, they built an environment where it could just take off. The government stepped in, simplified the whole process, slashed the bureaucratic red tape, and created really clear, easy-to-follow rules. They basically made it a no-brainer for people to say yes to solar.
Okay, so that brings us back home, to the US. And for the longest time, the story here was, well, the complete opposite. But in what feels like the blink of an eye, we've hit this incredible tipping point. The conversation has gone from no way to this is definitely happening. And get this. Just look at the date on this quote. As recently as April 2025, the experts were saying balcony solar was a total non-starter here, that it was dead on arrival because of all the old rules. This quote pretty much sums up the old way of thinking.
But then, look what happened. This timeline is just wild. The very same year that article came out saying there was no market, Utah went ahead and passed a law to create one. And by the start of 2026, boom, 30 states were either introducing or announcing similar plans. The market didn't just show up, it exploded onto the scene.
And it all started in Utah. They were the trailblazers, the first state to carve out a real legal path for plug-in solar. But here's the part that's truly amazing, especially in today's political climate. The bill passed with unanimous, bipartisan support.
I mean, seriously, look at these vote counts. 72-0 in the House, 27-0 in the Senate, not one single no vote. It just goes to show you that some ideas, like giving people more choice over their energy, helping them lower their bills, they aren't left or right. They're just good ideas.
Okay, so we've got all this incredible momentum, right? But it doesn't mean it's a completely smooth ride from here. To really unlock this thing, we've got to deal with some old, dusty rules that were just never meant for this kind of modern tech.
See, the whole problem is that our current utility rules were written for huge rooftop systems that send a lot of power back to the grid. Plug-in solar is a totally different animal. It's more like an appliance. It's designed for you to use the power yourself, not to sell it back. So trying to apply those old, complicated rules and fees, it's like trying to use the rulebook for a semi-truck to regulate a scooter. It just doesn't fit.
So really, it all boils down to one big important question. How do we make absolutely sure these new gadgets are safe for you and for the power grid without getting them all tangled up in the same red tape we use for a giant rooftop project? And thankfully, we have an answer. This is the breakthrough right here. The safety experts at UL Solutions created a brand new safety standard just for this. It's called UL 3700. Think of it as the missing piece of the puzzle. It gives manufacturers a clear set of rules for building safe products, and it gives regulators and all of us the confidence that these things are good to go. This is what opens the door to a safe, trusted market. So with the political will catching up and the safety stuff figured out, let's step back and look at the big picture. Why is this little piece of tech such a huge deal?
Well, for starters, it's a game changer for renters and apartment dwellers. It finally lets them in on the action. And for you, personally, it can slash your power bill, sometimes by up to 30%, just by running things like your fridge or your laptop. And for the bigger system, it actually helps the whole grid by making power right where it's being used. It's a win-win-win.
And the sheer scale of this whole thing, it's just staggering. We're talking about a potential of 57 gigawatts of demand. That's not just a number. That's like building dozens of new power plants, but without the smokestacks. It's a potential market worth over $70 billion, and it could save Americans $13 billion every single year. This is a massive economic engine, just waiting to be turned on.
You know, beyond all the billions of dollars and gigawatts, maybe the most important part is how it makes you feel. Like Helena Hallenwager from Germany said, it takes this big, abstract idea of an energy transition and makes it real. It makes it something you can touch and see. You can literally do something about it.
So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we look ahead, what if the next great American power plant isn't some giant building somewhere far away, but it's actually millions of small ones spread out all across our cities, quietly making clean energy right there on your balcony?